Let's get into Majespecters. It's been a while since I've done a deck profile, but here I am. So we got the standard 3 Maxi, 3 Ash, just because this is a really good card right now. You need this because, one, this is a really good card right now, and two, Ash also stops a lot of, just a lot of generic deck support for most decks. It's just very good in the meta and pretty much always will be. We got Nibiru. We're only running one. We were running two at one point, but we kind of just ran out of the room and we wanted to stick with 40 cards. Um, we are running Archfiend Eccentric. This is a pretty good tech choice, and it was just decent from back in the day. Sometimes I'll have people running a Floodgate that I can't get rid of, and this is my answer to it. So its main effect is you contribute this card, target one monster on the field, and destroy it. You can only use this effect of Archfiend Eccentric once per turn. But its pendulum effect, which is the one I use more, is you can target one other spell or trap card on the field, destroy both it and this card, and you can only use this effect of Archfiend Eccentric once per turn. It's also a scale 7, so you can actually bring out Unicorn with it as well if you draw a Unicorn into hand. Next, we have one cat. A lot of people don't even run one copy of this card. I think one copy of this card is fine. There's actually been times where it's just really helped me get the advantage I need, and it's also good for going into Totem Bird, which is a rank 3, and we'll get into it in a little bit. But Majespecter Cat, when it's normal or special summoned, you can add any Majespecter card from your deck to your hand during the end phase of the turn. You can only use this effect of Majespecter Cat once per turn. And so all the Majespecters are hard once per turn on their main effects. While this card is in your monster zone, your opponent cannot target it with card effects, and it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. That is also part of all the Majespecters. I believe even Kieran has that. Yeah. So all the Majespecters, the mainline Majespecters, have that. So like Raccoon, Crow, Fox, Toad, Porcupine, Kieran, all of them cannot be destroyed by card effects and can't be targeted by card effects. So very, very good effect there. The mainline Majespecters, none of them have pendulum effects. You can see they're all blank. But that's okay, they don't need them, they're already decent enough. So Bunbuku, when he is normal or special summon, you can add a Majespecter monster from your deck to your hand. It's a hard once per turn. This card is great. You could even add himself if you really wanted, although there's very few situations where you would want to do that. 90% of the time, you summon Bunbuku, and then you get Porcupine to your hand, and then you activate Porcupine's effect, which we'll get into in a little bit. First, we're going to go over Crow. So Crow is when it's normal or special summon, you can add a Majespecter spell from your deck to your hand. Fox is a Majespecter trap from your deck to your hand. And Toad's a little bit different. Toad, when it's normal summoned or special summoned, you can set a Majespecter spell or trap from your deck, but it can't be activated that turn. Toad is okay. Next we have Majesty Pegasus, the Draco Slayer. So this is not one of the mainline Majespecters, so it can be destroyed by card effects and targeted by card effects. But this is a very decent card. It is always treated as a Majespecter card, which that's good text to have. Quick effect, and you won't use this very often, if at all. You can discard this card for the rest of your turn, or sorry, for the rest of this turn. Your opponent cannot target Draco Slayer monsters you control with card effects. They cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. That's not very good. But the effect you will use a lot is if this card is special summoned by the effect of a Draco Slayer card or Pendulum summoned. So special summoned by a Draco Slayer card or Pendulum summoned. You can add one field spell from your deck to your hand, then discard one card. You can search their field spell or search Secret Village to lock them out of spells. Both are really good options. Next, we have the Pendulum effect, which is also really good. If you have a Draco Slayer or Majespecter card in your other Pendulum zone, you can target a Draco Slayer Pendulum monster with a different name other than this card. Add it from your deck to your hand, then you can destroy one card in your Pendulum zone. and that's a hard once per turn. Now you don't have to destroy the card. So like if I have this and I have a 5 in my other zone, and I just want another copy of it to pendulum summon for the field spell search effect, I can just add another copy of him, put it to the hand, destroy nothing, and then pendulum summon out. Next we get to Porcupine. So Majespecter, Porcupine, Yamashiri. This one is definitely amazing. I really needed this card. So during the main phase, you can do this during your opponent's turn. So like if you need bodies on the board to block damage, you can add it to your hand, or you can special summon Bunbuku off wind, put Bunbuku on board, and then add Porcupine to hand off Bunbuku and special Porcupine. But during the main phase, if you control Majespecter monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If it's normal or special summoned, you can target one Majespecter spell in your graveyard and set it. So you can basically constantly recur wind, which is pretty decent. It's a hard once per turn, and has that same effect of Void Destruction. Doesn't have a pendulum effect like the rest of the Majespecters. This card is just really good to do combos with, and you're going to see that in the replay. Sometimes if you don't get a Bunbuku or you don't get another Majespecter and a Porcupine to go into your Link monster to basically load the extra deck, if you have Crow, you can just summon Crow, use Crow effect, add Wind, Tribute Crow, get Bunbuku, and then Bunbuku get Porcupine, then Porcupine go into the Link monster. So there's plenty of like linear combo trees. Unicorn, we finally have Unicorn back. Quick effect, you can target a pendulum monster in your monster zone and one monster your opponent controls and return them to the hands. That effect's awesome. You can only use this effect of Kieran once per turn. While this card is in your monster zone, it can't be targeted, yada yada yada. One Pot of Prosperity helps with the clog, and you have plenty of things you can ditch an extra deck for it. One Secret Village, because there's a lot of spell cards being played in a lot of the decks right now, and you can just lock out your opponent from playing spells. If only you have a spellcaster monster, your opponent can't activate spell cards. If you control no spellcaster monsters, you cannot activate this card. Ooh. Sorry, you cannot activate spell cards, not this card. Ooh. But yeah, that effect, not so good. But if you can set it up and knock it Nibiru, then your opponent's going to be in a lot of trouble. Next we have Majesty's Pegasus. Majespecter monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. That's so-so. But you contribute one wind spellcaster monster, special summon one level 4 or lower Majespecter monster from your deck. You can only use this effect of Majesty's Pegasus once per turn. That effect is awesome and helps you do shenanigans. Next we have one Majespecter Cyclone. Target a wind spellcaster monster, then target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it. Okay-ish effect. 2 call by, 1 crossout designator. I've actually used this to stop the Nibiru a couple times. It's very useful. 3 Majespecter wins. It's you tribute a wind spellcaster monster, special summon a Majespecter monster from your hand or graveyard. But if you tributed a monster at activation, so it's optional to tribute. If you tributed a monster at activation, you can special summon one Majespecter monster from your deck instead. But you don't need to tribute if you have like Kieran in hand and you want to bring it out from hand with this. You just do it. If you want to bring Kieran out from deck, then yeah, you'd need to tribute. Next we have Majespecter Tornado. Tribute one wind spellcaster monster. Target one monster your opponent controls. Banish it. Also, pretty decent effect. 2 evenly matched, because sometimes we go second and we need to break board and set up. 2 Imperm, because Imperm's just a really good card right now. I like running it over Valor because Fire Kings, I feel like, can dodge Valor pretty easily. I mean, they can dodge Imperm too, but I feel like Imperm's the better card because if you set it, you can also negate something, and it just feels like it's more useful right now. Plus, you can play it during your turn as well, and affect Valor's only during your opponent's turn. So, like, if I'm going second and I have Imperm and I need to Imperm something on my turn, it can really be helpful. Like, a lot of the time, I've Imperm Baron to Floor, and they have either negated it or just let the Imperm go off, and then I'm able to get rid of Baron de Fleur with something like Cyclone easily, or just take my turn and set up and do things and don't have to worry about them. Next we have Tempest. So when a monster or monsters would be special summoned or a monster effect is activated, tribute one wind spellcaster monster and negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. I wish I had space for 2, but I don't. It's just Solemn Strike, but for Majespecters. Um, Next we have Totem Bird. So it's 2 level 3 wind monsters. Most of the time I make this with Cat Raccoon. When a spell or trap card is activated, you can detach 2 materials from this card and negate the activation. And if you do destroy it, this card loses 300 attack while it doesn't have materials. 1 Lightning Chidori. You can cut this and play something else if you want. You could even play Double Zeus if you really wanted. I think, yeah, I have 2 Zeuses. I'm just not playing 2 for some reason. But 2 wind monsters. When it's XYZ summoned, you can target 1 set card your opponent controls. Return that target to the bottom of the deck. Once per turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card. Target 1 face-up card your opponent controls. Return that card to the top of the deck. So it's situational, but it can be really good. 1 Majespecter Paladin, the Ascending Draco Slayer. 2 level 4 Pendulum monsters. You rarely ever make this. This is one of the other things you can cut for something else you might find more useful. Like maybe you want to run Abyss Dweller. I honestly am thinking about swapping that out now because I don't use this often enough. But when it's XYZ summoned, you can add any Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand during the end phase of the turn. Its once per turn effect is you can detach 1 material from this card. Special summon 1 face-up Draco Slayer Pendulum monster from your extra deck, but it cannot be used as material for an XYZ summon. 1 Baguska in case you need to stall. 1 Zeus. 2 Majespecter Draco Ryu. This card is amazing. It's 2 level 4 monsters. If you can Pendulum summon level 4, you can Pendulum summon this face-up card from your extra deck. That's useful because you can use him for link fodder for SP Little Knight to get the banish effect because he is a Exceed monster. If a monster is tributed while this card is on the field, so from any of your spell and traps or your field spell, except during the damage step, you can detach 1 material from this card and special summon 1 level 6 or lower wind spellcaster monster from your deck, which is pretty insane. You can use that effect up to twice per turn. It's a hard twice per turn. If this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle or card effect or tributed, you can place it in your pendulum zone, which all of that is pretty sweet as well since it's a 5 scale. Its pendulum effect is if you have a Majespecter or Draco Slayer card in your other pendulum zone, you can add 1 Majespecter card from your deck to your hand. Then you can destroy 1 card in your pendulum zone. So, and that's a hard once per turn. But this card's just all around very good for the deck and kind of feels like what it was missing. 1 Wind the Wind Charmer. You won't go into this very often. It's just target a wind monster your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to a zone this card points to. I have used that against Flu before, which was hilarious. If this link summon card is destroyed by battle or by an opponent's card effect while it's in the owner's monster zone, you can add 1 wind monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Wind the Wind Charmer Verdant once per turn. 1 SP Little Knight. 2 Majespecter Orthus New. So New is actually really good. If it's link summon, you can add up to 2 face-up Majespecter Pendulum monsters for your extra deck to your hand. So basically, like, if you make this with Raccoon Porcupine, and you get this and use its effect, you can add Raccoon Porcupine back to hand, and it's a 5 scale and a 2 scale. And so that's really useful because then you can Pendulum summon, and that means you can use the second part of this effect, which is then you can add up to 2 Majespecter Pendulum monsters with different names from your deck to your face-up extra deck. Also, you cannot special summon for the extra deck for the rest of the turn except for Majespecter or Draco Slayer monsters. So, very decent effect all around. I definitely like it. I'm running 2 of it because it is really useful. There have been some cases where I kind of feel like I want 3, and maybe we'll take out some stuff for that. I'll show you some other options for the extra deck in a little bit. 1 Nightmare Unicorn. 1 Exceed the Pendulum. This card, I don't know if you need to run it. I've used it like once. It's really mediocre. It kind of feels like a win more card. Um, it's not the worst. It gains 100 attack for every pendulum monster you control. You can only use each of the following effects to exceed the pendulum once per turn. So when it's link summoned, you can add a face-up pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. During the main phase, you can special summon 1 pendulum monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position with a level between the pendulum skills of the cards in your pendulum zone. I think Beyond the Pendulum is probably more useful. and we might look into that in a moment. I didn't want to run that one either, though, personally, but we'll take a look at it as a tech choice. Appaloosa and Underworld Goddess. So let's look up Draco Slayer. There's this guy, which is decent. One Draco Slayer Pendulum Monster plus one Pendulum Monster. Must first be special summoned by tributing the buff you control. Pendulum Monster cards in your monster zones and Pendulum zones cannot be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effects. So that's pretty decent. Once per turn, you can special summon a Draco Slayer Pendulum Monster from your hand or graveyard, but it can't be used as fusion material. So like, this would be an okay tech. This we're not really running tuners for, so it doesn't really matter. But I just feel like right now there's probably better choices than this guy. Like, this guy's decent, but he just feels like he's so mediocre. I actually think I'm gonna go ahead and craft one of these and test it in play testing. If you want this as a tech, it seems like a pretty good tech. I've definitely enjoyed running just random techs in this. I feel like I should probably running Abyss Dweller. Just because this card seems a lot more useful than something like Win. I know Win has the down arrows, but so does that. And I feel like I'm even going to take out the Exceed the Pendulum just because I almost never use it and put in another one of this guy. And then if you want to, you can do Beyond the Pendulum, but I've been iffy on it. So if it's Link Summon in the extra monster zone, you can pay 1,200 life points, add a Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand, but the rest of this turn, unless you Pendulum Summon after this effect resolves, you cannot activate monster effects, and the effects of any cards in your Pendulum Zone are negated. If two monsters with different original levels are Pendulum Summoned at the same time, you can target two cards in the field and destroy them. I mean, I think I'll playtest this and try it, but I think I did before and I ended up dismantling it because it didn't have the juice. But you guys might have better luck with it than me. But anyway, that's it for the deck part of the profile. If you like the deck profile, let me know down below. I hope you like my tech choices for this. The last tech choice, and this one's actually for main deck. I feel like it deserves honorable mention. As you have Storm, which you contribute a wind spellcaster monster or target monster your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck. That's so. You also have Supercell, which if you have a Majespecter card in your Pendulum Zone, the activation effects of your Majespecter cards on the field cannot be negated. And you can shuffle 5 Majespecter cards into the deck and draw 1 card. That's also decent, and if I had the room for it, I would be running it, but I just feel like I don't because I'm running evenly. And also honorable mention to Sonics, it lets you double the attack and defense of a Majespecter monster, and any battle damage it inflicts to your opponent is halved. I mean, it's also one of those like so-so cards. Like if we had side decking, that'd be more of like a sideboard card. Like if I have to beat over something, like I could summon Kira and make it 4,000 and basically crash into anything I need. But yeah, that's it for the deck profile part. Let me know if you like this down below. I'm going to leave you guys with the replays. And speaking of replays, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to save that just because I want to try a couple of those tech choices for myself. I ended up getting to Diamond 2 with this. I wanted to go all the way to Master, but I just got burnt out on playing the game. I got really tired of seeing Fire King and Yubel. I know that Master Duel meta put Yubel as tier 1, but I feel like Majespecters have an amazing matchup against Yubel. Like, I had the easiest time. So they're going to play FK. They're not going to get anywhere. We're going to Crow, and we're just going to say, oh, you're going to do that. That's fine. And unfortunately, we're going to take a little bit of a maxi challenge here. I'm just betting on them having a lot of spell cards. I have 2 Max C, so I ditched one. And so I got like a summon, an effect negate. And we see Runics, and we just go, oh, are you shitting me? We say, okay, whatever. Here, have another card. Activate the Secret Village, and then pass turn. And this is where we get interesting. So now they're locked out of spell cards. That's fine. We're going to banish the Garunics. We're going to resolve the Draco Slayer effect. We got the Kieran out. They got the Link Kriva. We don't care. We're pretty much set at this point, and they're screwed. They went ahead and surrendered, which is good because playing that out probably would have taken a while. It can be a real grind against Fire Kings. But you have a good Fire King and a good YuGiOh matchup. Even more so if you go first. YuGiOh can be really grindy though. I know I got some of those in here. I can't believe Master Duel meta is putting them as like the best deck of the format because I don't see it. Speaking of YuGiOh, it's like, oh, that's a nice card you have there. They're going to attribute it, but it still gets negated because it was imperm, so... There's the 2, there's the 5. There's the crow, there's the cat, there's the fox. Add a banish, add a summoner. Play the Ryu. Do that, get that effect. We're going to extend even more. We're going to get Toad. And now we're just going to be like, yeah, whatever you want to do, I don't care. Unfortunately, we get super polyed. That really hurt. We're going to banish that, though, because they just don't have anything. And it means next turn we're just going to come back and win. So they went ahead and surrendered. And that is us bullying YuGiOh. The deck is very consistent, I will say that. Sometimes you can get like kind of weirdly bricky hands, but it is pretty consistent. Like I keep drawing 2 Max C, which not the worst problem to have, I guess. Cause like destroy. And I'm like, oh, you're gonna summon things during my turn? Sure. We're just gonna keep doing things. I don't know why I got that instead of the one that destroys. Oh, I set it for some reason. That was so... Oh, because I already had one. Okay. I still should have got it normally. Whatever. How'd they book me? Oh, one of their things does like a Book of Moon. Okay. They're still doing things even though we've cleared board. I don't know why you would keep extending like that instead of going for game. It's like, look at my hand. Like, that's a recipe for disaster. You're not even gonna get the draw off Nibiru, buddy. Freaking Rescue Ace. This deck is like a cockroach. It just refuses to die. Yeah, you can't target my Majespecters. I hope you realize that now. So we're going to get rid of that, and we were just going to go into shenanigans. But at this point, they're just like, oh, yeah, we lost. But, yeah. The deck has a lot of decent plays, and it really makes me happy. It feels like it was really missing those key cards. Oh, I remember this person was playing. I was playing on Twitch, and they kept slow playing me. And I went into their chat, and I was like, "GG, GG," and they were not too happy about that. Nice Baron to floor. You like to negate? Cool. Toad into Mambuku, into Crow, into Porcupine, set the card I just played, get new effect. That's a 2, that's a 5. I don't know, I misclicked that, I didn't mean to discard it, that's okay. Oh yeah, see? And now we got a Porcupine for next turn, so if we use a spell card, which we probably will, we can just have shenanigans. And it's like, hey, I'm gonna put this back now. And we're just like, oh, you want to summon that? Cool, bro. Oh, you want to summon that? Cool, bro. Just slam everything down on the table. We're tired of your shenanigans. Like, just get it out of there. Oh, God of Horus is interesting, but it's just not going to cut it, Chief. And so they went ahead and scooped because they finally realized at that point in time it's just not going to happen. Let's see which this one is. There are some really interesting replays in here. Ugh, I hate when that happens. And I'm like, okay. I only won this because they bricked, I think. Another one. I don't know why I summoned it. That was a misplay. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Ugh, just imperm and just running into freaking everything. And we're just like, oh, you're gonna summon? Okay, cool, thanks. The one card's all I needed. So you just dug yourself into a hole on that one. Alright guys, I think that's good on replays. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Leave a like or comment or subscribe if you feel like it. And yeah, I'll see y'all then. Bye-bye.